All right, let's talk about what you can expect when you start dealing with these utility companies and letting them know that you know who you are. All right, let's jump right into it. Click the thumbs up button, leave me a comment. All right, cool. So, when you start to actually figure out that all of these expenses and stuff are supposed to actually be discharged and everything's supposed to be taken care of for you, I'm talking about everything, every utility bill, everything that you ever did as far as consumerism, all that stuff's supposed to be taken care of if it has to do with providing your needs. All right, cool. So I assume you already know that. So what can you expect when you start to send these registered securities in? So the thing that you already would have to know is how to fill it out properly, how to endorse it properly. Of course, I'm talking about the bill. You got or the so-called bill, right? So the utility company send you a bill and they like, hey, you owe us this amount of money for this month. Really, that's a dividend check and you're actually entitled to payment. So they, even though they actually owe you money, they try to trick you into paying them because they're greedy bastards and they're unethical. So in case you didn't know that, now you know. So anyways, whenever you start to actually instruct these people on how to deal with your accounts properly, you might get a little pushback because of course they're so used to getting away with stuff and they're so used to people being afraid of them that even when you do take an opportunity to say, hey, I actually know what's going on here, I know that you're actually supposed to be paying me, I am entitled to payment because I am the one benefiting from this transaction. Okay, so anytime that you got a bill, you're not actually paying the bill off, right? Because it's a debt, right? They have what might be seen as a debt statement or something along those lines, right? They're trying to state that you owe them a debt, and really you don't actually have any debt at all. And what they try to do is they try to get you to basically be like, oh yeah, I accept that this is a debt that I owe, and then you pay them cash or something like that. You thinking that you're actually zeroing out the debt and you're canceling it out, but that's not how this works. Because when you exchange Federal Reserve notes for something, you got to understand that that itself is not even a real form of payment. This is all promises to pay because there's no real actual money in circulation. It's not any lawful money. It's all fiat currency. And in case you don't understand what that means, basically, anytime that you're giving them money and you think that it's taking care of the debt that they say you owe for the month for your utilities, actually all you're doing is adding even more debt on top of it because you're not discharging it. What you have to do is actually discharge the debt or offset the debt. And that's how you actually eliminate something. The reason why the public debt is always increasing is because people are quote unquote going into debt, and then they use a freaking form of debt, aka Federal Reserve notes, to freaking pay off the debt, which of course you can't actually do because that's basically another promise to pay. So you owe somebody money, right? If you owe them money, and then, or at least you think you owe them money, right? You think you owe them money, and then you give them a promise to pay as your form of payment, all it does is create another freaking debt, bro. I hope you're following. So all you did was just make the public debt even bigger, because now, even though there wasn't actually a debt owed in the first place, you thought there was, so you get these fools some money, some fiat currency. And then when you do that, all you did was create a debt that now is actually owed, and now you don't even freaking realize that all you did was put yourself in a deeper hole, your country, quote unquote, in a deeper hole, and you didn't even realize that the whole time you're not actually taking care of any debts. So a lot of people are doing this their entire lives and they don't realize. Like, the reason why it's like, I don't know, $14 trillion now as far as the public debt is because people don't realize anytime that they incur any kind of expense, they're supposed to be zeroing out the books. They're supposed to be actually getting rid of the freaking expense or the debt by, guess what, discharging it. How do you discharge it? Well, now you got to understand how securities work. This is a really deep thing. All of this stuff has to do with securities. All of this freedom stuff, getting houses, cars, getting out of debt, canceling out your student loans, you name it, bro. Your freaking mortgage, anything that has to do with this type of stuff is all about understanding securities, okay? I promise you this is the truth. You have to comprehend how to create securities in that field. This private banking stuff is what I'm talking about. You have to learn how to be your own private banker.
You have to comprehend what that means. If you don't even know what a security is, if you don't know that you're actually the only person who can create any form of money or trust in anything, then you are sadly mistaken, because you don't realize who you are and the role that you're supposed to play in this. Because the whole time, these companies, these corporations, they're just taking advantage of the fact that people don't actually know that they are the authority. The people, we the people, are the true authority the entire freaking time. And people are so afraid, for whatever reason, I think it's just mind control, but people be so afraid to stand up to these freaking corporations that don't even have a face. What you scared of, nigga? All it is freaking paperwork. All these corporations are is it's a big, all capital letters name on a freaking piece of paper. You are actually a living, breathing soul. You're so much more than that. You're so much more beyond just some paper entity. So it's just like, bro, when you realize that you're dealing with these people and you like, hey, they send me a bill in the mail, bet, I endorse that, boom, stamp it, boom, sign it, send that thing in with the instructions on how to do it. They might send you back a letter saying something like, we can't accept this. We don't know how to accept this form of payment. This is not a valid form of payment. We require cash or check or U.S. bank notes, or, not U.S. bank notes, but Federal Reserve notes. They're going to say some crap like that. If you just tuck your tail and run, then they still got your dumb ass, bro. You got to actually stand on who you are. You got to stand on that square. You got to let them know, if we got to go back and forth, we can go back and forth. We can write letters all day long, bro. I know how to do this. Anytime that you dealing with the post office is actually the highest banker in this entire thing. So you got to also understand how the freaking post office works. And I'm not talking about the U.S. Postal Service. That's two separate things. There's a lot to this, but of course, on my channel, I just do my best to give y'all some sense of guidance so you ain't out here doing wild, stupid stuff. So anyways, anytime that you're doing this, you gonna endorse it, you gonna stamp it, endorse it, write it, however you want to create the security, right? Of course, you have to follow the right freaking ways of doing it, which, if you don't know, all you have to do is do a little research and you can find out exactly how to endorse this on your own. You ever heard of CFR? Anyways. So as you're doing these things, all you got to do is actually tell them, like, hey, this is what I need you to do, because I know that you are working for me. I'm the one calling the shots. You work for me. This is what I need you to do. This is how I want you to take care of this account for me. They might say something like, oh, we don't know how to do it that way. You let them know, hey, I know exactly how this works, and here's my proof. Because it's not just about what you say. You have to be able to prove what you say. And you're proving it by citing all of the little rules that you know are in their rule book that they have to follow. So if I say, hey, I'm citing this one right here, I'm citing that one right here. Of course, I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I got this stuff written down, bro. But like I said, CFR. So if you're doing these things and you are going back and forth with them at some point, and of course you're using the post office as your actual intermediary, because you're supposed to, or I can't even call that an intermediary, really. They're the ones actually handling everything. But anyway, so whenever you're sending stuff registered mail, when you create a security and then you send it to the utility company registered mail, you just created a registered security. You have to be able to use the right lingo with these companies, because you have to be able to talk their talk, because they're going to try to act like they don't understand what you're talking about. They're going to do their best to play dumb. But if you be very specific, and you're like, hey, bro, I just sent you a registered security. All you did was write a letter back to me saying you can't accept it, but you didn't even send it back, bitch. You just accepted it. You have to be willing to tell them that, hey, you just accepted my registered security. Oh, you can't accept that for payment as a form of payment? Oh, okay. Well, sell that security instead and get the money, and then take care of my account and pay it that way. Bro, you could get in all these type of instructions, and people don't realize all you have to do is actually make it make sense. All you have to do is actually know how this works, know what your options are, and then tell them what to do, and let them know that you're not finna make a bitch out of me. Because they're gonna try. They're gonna try their best to play dumb. You gotta let them know, hey, you ain't finna play dumb with me. I know what this is. And how you do it is by making sure that you cite every single rule in their rule books that you know they have to follow. You have to let them know, hey, for example, hey, I know that you're the indentured trustee. This indentured agreement says blah, blah, blah. And of course, whenever you send in these letters, you got to make sure you send it to the right person, whether that's the treasurer, the indentured trustee, freaking CFO of the company, whatever it is. You got to be willing to do some research to get this stuff done. But all you got to do is get it right. And then for the rest of your life, all your freaking expenses is taken care of. All of your bills are taken care of. Bro, come on, bro. They ain't never going to cut your junk off ever. They scared of you. Some people I've heard actually also, they'll just send a 1099-C and they'll just keep sending it. And they'll say, cancel the debt, cancel it, cancel it, cancel it. And eventually they'll just leave them alone and leave their junk on because they just won't stop. But that's the thing. You have to be willing to not stop. If they like try to finesse and try to like basically buy time, or if they try to tell you some BS by sending you a little letter in the mail that says nothing, probably not even signed by nobody, probably not even written by the person that you actually sent your security to, like, bro, they're gonna try you in a lot of ways, and you just gotta put them in check. Let them know, like, hey, I ain't the one to be playing with now. I ain't the one to be playing with. This is what you supposed to be doing. This is what I know you need to be doing for me, because this is what I'm telling you to do. And if I need to go and report your ass for securities fraud, I'm willing to do that. You have to know how to stand on your square, okay? And I promise you, your life is going to open up when you realize just who you are and how powerful you are. And that these folks, these corporations, ain't shit. Precisely.